الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. I am really delighted from what I saw, what I heard, what I enjoyed. Our young souls with positive energy from different angles, beautifully expressed different perspectives about one shining truth, the hope of today and the future. And I am more certain than ever that this positive tide, this energetic force of creating a bright future, coming from the young generation, from everywhere, hearing the same voice of hope from different parts of the world that will create the kind of day that we are expecting. The topic of all of the presentations was hope. The concept of today's conference is on the shore of hope. So let's concentrate for a moment on the concept and the meaning of hope. What is the nature of hope? What is the definition of hope? What kind of hope we're talking about? Hope, in Islamic meaning of the word, stands between two sides, negating two positions. On one side is despair, and on the other side is delusion. We need hope. If we want to take any step, if we want to have any action, without hope, no one can move. When you are caught with despair, you lose every bit of your energy. You cannot decide. You cannot analyze. You cannot make any decision. You cannot take any action. And in Islamic thinking, despair is the biggest of all evil. It is said in Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives every sin, but the sin of being disappointed of God is not to be forgiven. Despair is something that we are not allowed. Al-ya'as min rahmatillah. No one claiming to be a Muslim is allowed to give up hope. But on the other side, there is another concept. There is another hazard, and that is delusion. Delusion is going by untrue imaginations, living in unrealistic world. Leaning towards imaginary goals which are not reachable. And this kind of imagination would lead to despair. Because if what you are aiming for is not realistic, in a period of time, there comes a time that because it has been unreachable, you lose hope. So delusion gives way to despair. That is why both of these edges are to be negated. We need hope. We don't need delusions. Hope has a realistic aspect, and that has to be kept. Hope to something which is reachable. Of course, different levels of visions may make something which looks unreachable to me to look reachable for you. If our visions differ, our hopes may differ. The kind of goal that we have, the kind of vision that we have, these two interact with each other. And the goal for humankind, the goal for civilization, the goal for history has been depicted by the creator of the world. He has created the world for justice. So unless and until the justice is prevailing over the human society, we would not have the end of history. That goal of creation has to be achieved and will be achieved. That's the kind of understanding that we read from the story of creation. And there is one big difference between hope and delusion. In delusion and in despair, in both, you do not see any kind of action. In despair, you are disappointed, you have lost all your hope, you are hopeless, you cannot move. And in delusion, you are happy with your imaginations. You don't do anything to create, to make it happen. So both have one thing in common: inaction. But in the true meaning of hope in Islam, if you are hopeful, you have to act. This is a saying from Imam Ali alayhi salam, talking about hope as a principle. He declares that فَكُلُّ مَنْ رَجَى يُتَبَيَّنْ رَجَاؤُهُ فِي عَمَلِهِ. If anyone claims that he is hopeful, he lives by hope, look at his action. Look at what he does. فَكُلُّ مَنْ رَجَى يُتَبَيَّنْ رَجَاؤُهُ فِي عَمَلِهِ. if anyone has any hope, it has to be manifested in his action. We have similar saying from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Man raja shay'an amila lah. Whoever hopes for something does acts for that purpose. وَمَنْ خَافَ مِنْ شَيْءٍ هَرَبَ مِنْهِ. The same when someone is fearful of something, he walks away, he runs away from that. So the sign, the declaration, the manifestation of hope is action. No one can claim that I hope for something, but he does not anything. If we are hopeful for the advent of justice, for the advent of a just ruler, for advent of Imam Mahdi, it has to be seen in the way I act, in the way I live, in the way I talk, in the way I aim, in the way I react. The lifestyle of someone who is awaiting for Imam Mahdi has to be different from the lifestyle of someone who does not so. فَكُلُّ مَنْ رَجَاءَ عُرِفَ رَجَاؤُهُ فِي عَمَلِهِ. So our understanding of awaiting for Imam Mahdi, intizar, is a kind of life, a kind of awaiting which comes with action, with responsibility. And of course, not any kind of action. Right choice in right time, in the right manner. Al-amalu salih. A believer who has a goal in mind, he has a standard to test whatever he does, the action or reaction that he has. So, for any kind of action that I want to have as a muntadhir, I have to analyze it and test it with the standards that I have had, not just any kind of action. And then the definition will be complete. الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. If I go by that standard, then I will be one of the group which Quran has talked about. وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات. Then comes that glad tidings of لا يستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make them heirs of the earth, as He has done so in the past. كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليبدلنهم بعد خوفهم أمنا. And instead of the state of horror, He will give them the state of security and stability. So when we talk about hope, we have to make sure that we have a right understanding of hope. Hope comes with action, and our action will be seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just looking for excuses, for little reasons to give us His mercy, His blessing. In all of the literature that we have learned from our Imams, talking about the advent of Imam Mahdi, a little action from us brings about his blessing. Even the number of people who are going to be with him, the selected ones, the top of the cream, they are not very numerous. If those qualified people لو اجتمع على الإمام بضعة عشر رجل لوجب عليه الخروج. That elite, that selected group has to go through a lot of tests, a lot of hardship. So if my goal is to be one of that selected group, I would welcome any kind of hardship. And I would prepare myself for that date and time. Let's be ready. Thank you.